Back in 2004, I decided it was time to scratch a very specific itch, the legendary Yamaha R1. Not some modern techno rocket ship, oh no. This one is a 1999 model, the second year of production. It looked gorgeous when I found it, that classic design still turns heads, but underneath it needed a bit of love. So into the garage I went. Out came the world's most pointless alarm system, one that seemed determined to drain the battery just for sport. Then it got the full Chopsy treatment. Fresh service, new clutch, upgraded brake lines, chain and sprockets, the lot. And yes, if you enjoy a bit of mechanical chaos, swearing at seized bolts and the sweet sound of carb cleaner, there's a whole series on the channel covering every oily minute of it. But now, after months of fettling, fixing and fighting with 90s wiring, it's finally time. The MOT test, the maiden ride, the moment of truth. Right then, settle in, grab a brew, and Chopsy, roll the intro.
So here we are out on the R1. The MOT, I'm actually late for the MOT. I've only got 5 minutes to get to the MOT station. I've just noticed the fuel light was on, so I've had to come and get fuel. But yeah, this is the first ride of this machine. I mean, I've done 4 miles from my house, and the brakes are awful. Why do they put green on the diesel pumps? I mean, don't do that. There's enough people who get them mixed up and put the wrong fuel in their cars. They put green on the diesel. There's no one, unfortunately, there's no super here. I would normally put super in my own bikes, but there isn't any here, and I need to get petrol on the way, so we're just going to put a tenner's worth in, and we'll fill it up with super later. But yeah, I've just come 5 minutes from my house, and the brakes are terrible. I can't remember if I fitted new pads in the front. Obviously, I had the issue with the pistons, if you remember, and what I did, I actually got a bit of emery cloth and I cleaned the pistons up, and then I was going to test them and see how they were. And of course, if your bike's not got MOT, you can't ride it on the road, so the only time you can legally ride on the road is on the way to the MOT station. And then when you've had done a lot of work on a bike, you know, that's your running in test. You know, so I put the MOT, but it may fail because the brakes at the moment, I don't know, because obviously did I put new pads in? I can't remember. I put new lines in and everything, so I'm hoping it's going to improve by the time I get there, because at the moment it's absolutely awful. I don't think it'll pass with the way the brakes are functioning currently, but yeah, I'm a little bit worried. Both front and rear aren't very good, so not really ideal. So we need to give it lots of braking on the way to see if it's just a bedding in issue. Hopefully it's just a bedding in issue. Actually, I should have checked that caliper, make sure it's not leaking because of the weeping. Did I put new seal? I can't even remember if I put new seals in either. And so it was about 6 months ago since I touched it, and I can't exactly remember what I did in the end. So I know I definitely didn't put new pistons in it. But let's see. So let's give it a bit of braking on the way. That could be improving slightly. That's probably, you know, for minimum MOT standards, that's probably okay. Let's just do the rear. Obviously for my own, that's not good enough though. But remember, the trouble is, on an older bike like this, I must say it feels absolutely lovely on the new tyres. I put on Pirelli Super Corsas, didn't I? And obviously I've not ridden it, these are brand new out the packet, so I've got to be a little bit careful, so I've got to scrub them in a little bit. But straight away, the handling of the bike is transformed to what it was like on those old tyres. It just wants, I can tell it just wants to turn in. Before, when you turned in, it just felt, you just get that horrible sort of feedback, and it felt sort of wishy-washy. Had absolutely no confidence that the brakes, that it would turn in and it wasn't going to slide out. And I was a little bit worried there was something wrong, you know, with the actual suspension. But that is a vast improvement. Hold on a sec. Let me get off the motorway and I'll speak to you again. It's going to be too darn noisy. bit of braking at the slip road. Yeah, that's biting better all the time. I must have put new pads in, I can't remember if I did or not, but yeah, that is improving, that is improving. Last time I rode it, I remember it feeling really quite extreme and uncomfortable, but it actually feels not too bad. It's got such an enormous seat on the bike that you've got plenty of room to move around on, really well padded. And the bike, yes, there's weight on my wrists and I can feel it in my wrists a bit, and you know, like I said, I've been on this 10 minutes and like, if I were to ride it for an hour I'd probably be a bit crippled, but it feels alright. It feels alright. Front brake again. Oh, I think we're ready. I think that'll be alright. Rear brake. As long as they're not weeping everywhere through the pistons and the seals, now I've put proper riding pressures in, on the lever I mean, then I think we'll be alright for the MOT, but let's see. But the place I use is just up here, so once it's done I'll report back and let you know what they say. Rear brake, the rear brake is actually really, the lever's in a really nice position just to chuck a bit of rear braking around the corners. I like that. I do struggle, having size 12 feet, I really struggle getting a rear brake exactly where you want it, so your foot is on the peg but then you still got, you know, enough, the pedal's low enough to get a bit of rear braking without having to sort of lift your foot off the peg to get to the rear brake. There's not a great deal of adjustment in sort of rear brake positions on bikes. This is actually spot on. Actually, sports bikes normally are pretty good. What I'm struggling with is like the 690, the KTM. It's a bit too high, the rear pedal, and there's not a lot you can do to, you know, I've tried to move it down a bit, but it's not easy. It's so hot today. It's about 30 degrees. It's absolutely scorching. I may be in there in a minute in Mackey's for a bit of a flurry to cool me down. So all done, and she passed. She passed, of course. No, not even an advisory. All passed, no advisories. So I'm going to get her home now, and then I will, on the way home, we'll stop. I'll get my camera out, and I'll just give you a closer look at her after all the mopping that Adam did for me on the paintwork. It looks absolutely incredible. The work I've done on this seems to have transformed this bike. Previously, obviously the chain and sprockets were in a right old mess, if you cast your minds back. All that front brake's still not brilliant, but you know, it just seems to ride really rather nice now. And I think the biggest change is, I think, those tyres. It just wants to handle now. Before it felt like, as I said on the way in, you were just sort of fighting it a little bit and you never had any confidence. These super coursers on there, it just wants to fall into the, it's amazing the difference a new set of tyres can make, especially when the tyres you take it off, like 10 years old or whatever. I was invited by Pirelli to Donington next week. There's a Pirelli day at Donington Park after World Superbikes, and yeah, the guys from Pirelli invited me along and said, you know, come along for the day. I've got so much going on next week, I couldn't do it. And I also thought, well, I haven't got any bike really to go around Donington Park on, because also they wanted to change the tyres and put Pirelli tyres on the bike. And my SMCR, which could have been an option, or the Hypermotor, I couldn't have taken that, it's not run in, but they're both on, they got new Michelins on. And I didn't want to go for the aggro of having the tyres taken off and other ones put on, whereas this had supercoursers on it already. So I was like, I could take the R1, but I thought, you know what, it's going to be horrible. If it's anything like last time I rode it, it's going to feel really horrible on track. But after how it feels now, I think this has been brilliant around Donington Park, when the brakes aren't great still. But I think that's just a bedding in issue. We'll see about that. If not, I mean, it's a 1999 motorcycle. It's 26 years old. You know, the brakes aren't going to feel like a modern day sports bike, which is what I'm used to. So it could just be, you know, adapting. What I think would be really good, and if I was going to keep this, I'd probably do an upgrade with the Hell calipers and brake lines. and master cylinder, I mean, that would transform it. But there's just a lovely feel from these tyres now. So I've got to take a little bit steady because I am bedding in, but it just wants to change direction. It's not as fast as you might think. What it has got is just bags and bags of grunt. It is so grunty. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's almost like a V-twin amount of grunt. It doesn't have, well, it doesn't have a massive top end compared to modern sports bikes, and I guess you could describe it as a little bit disappointing. Now, the out and out forward acceleration compared to modern stuff, but what is impressive is the grunt. Let me give you an example. At 70 miles an hour, 4,500 revs in top gear, 80, 85, look how well it picks up in the mid-range. It's incredibly grunty, and I think that's where modern sports bikes differ, because modern bikes are all about power at the top. You know, they concentrate, it's all focused on peak power output, and that doesn't make the best road bike, as we know. But this is just so grunty, and it just goes to show how things have changed, and how back when this came out, you know, this was, I mean, track days weren't really a thing back then, were they? Track days? Hang on, I can't see the indicator's working. I think the indicators have stopped working, you know. Dashboard, I've got no indicators. No, they are flashing. It is flashing, but the light's not working on the dashboard, I don't think. Yeah, they are working, but there's no light. No dashboard light. That's a pain. Is that an MOT failure, or was that literally just stopped? Bulb might have gone in the dash. That's annoying. We've got to take the front cable off again. Yeah, I'm really pleased. The clutch all seems good. It's much lighter. It was biting at a funny point before. That's really nice now, the clutch. So it looks like I put that back together properly, which is always a bonus. And yeah, it feels so nice now. So nice. Chain and sprockets obviously were quite shitty before. You know, so it's more freer turning, and it used to do a bit of a clunk into second. Even that doesn't seem quite as bad as what it was. So yeah, overall I'm absolutely loving this. Here she is in all of her glory, all of her 90s beautifulness. Massive thanks to Adam. I mean, look at the panels where he's had that little bit of polishing. It's covered in flies. The flies absolutely love it. Look at them all over it. Can you see them? Absolutely covered in flies at the moment for some reason. But yeah, she looks absolutely beautiful now. So the biggest sort of visual change from the old bike, the chain and sprockets was a right mess, if you remember. I'll see if I can find some old footage, but it was a very old chain. It was all safe, but it was really old, really nasty. So I've gone for the Renthal chain and sprocket in gold, of course, bit gold bling. New tyres, which actually are not too bad there, a little bit of bedding in already, just coming away from the MOT station. But yes, Pirelli Super Corsa Diablo tyres, so super sticky Pirelli rubber on this, and I think that's the biggest change. I think before it had some old Diablos, it had Pirellis on, but some old Diablos, and it didn't handle right, didn't feel right. That has just given it just falls into the corners now. So that's really transformed how the bike feels. I also fitted a new clutch. I think I did plates and fibres, if I remember well, but it was quite far out. The clutch was a little bit snatchy on the clutch. It's completely sorted that, so well happy with that. It had some rather hideous sort of blue brake lines, so I've changed it for some nice hell lines now. So it's new hell lines on the front and also new hell lines on the rear, which the brakes are getting better. Now they're being bedded in a little bit. What else did I do? I also changed the screen. It had a rather hideous 90s blue screen on it, blue tint screen. So I've got the original screen back on, which we did a bit of polishing on, and you know, there's a little mark here, but you can't really see too much wrong with the screen. And I've fitted lovely little black bolts as well, new screen bolts, but I think that's everything I've done. I mean, I may have forgotten stuff. If I have, you guys might remember more than me, but yeah, there she is. Oh, I took the alarm off it as well. It did have a data tool alarm on it, which I hate alarms because that was flattening the battery all the time. But the battery was flat after being sat for 6 months, even without the alarm on it, so I should have really kept that topped up. I didn't. I did put a new battery on it as well. That's something else I did. So there she is, cleaned, new MOT, ready for a little bit of summer sun action. So yeah, she's absolutely gorgeous. Just riding it here this morning, absolutely loving this bike, absolutely loving it. But it'll be really interesting to see how it compares to the old Bray. There's sort of a little bit of a vagueness to the front end, but that's probably just how it is, I would think. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It slides in, it's just a little bit slow to change direction, I suppose. Probably due to the fact the wheels are really heavy, because that is one thing with modern bikes, that the wheel manufacturing processes, the wheels are normally a lot lighter. Yeah, this just lovely goes into the corner. Lovely bit of mid-range as well, sounds absolutely lovely. Let's watch this guy, he's going to try and kill both of us. Oh my god. This is what I said, you know, this is the biggest thing you notice with riding old bikes, is the brakes feel terrible compared to modern stuff. Well, this has just given this bike the modern feel brakes, and it's transformed it. It no longer feels like an old bike. Come past, mate, let's have a look at it. Let's have a look at it.
I think they look great on the road together, don't they?
Oh, they look brilliant, don't they? Look at them. Wow. Old school motorcycling, eh? You can't beat it.
I could ride this stuff all day. It's so much fun.
But I like the way you sort of feel like you're in this. You feel like you're right behind the tank. It feels like it feels like my arse is actually quite low, whereas it feels much higher on the R1, and I feel like I'm sat behind the bike rather than on it. It's definitely a sat on it feeling on the R1, isn't there?
I'll start braking now.
Yeah, start braking now. The end of the road finishes in half a mile, so I'd start now, aren't you?
Okay. Is there a parachute on it or something?
Have a little slow down, let's have a little roll on. Let's have a little roll on. A little second gear roll on. Mind you, I don't know what gear I'm in. Where's my gear indicator?
Right, I'm in second now.
Okay, let's do it. You count it in.
1, 2, 3, go.
Let's have a look in your back passage.
Brace yourself.
Brace yourself. What sort of storage? How many McMuffins could be fitted here?
Off
You've
you
even
go.
got a hinged tail.
Complete with
Hinged tail.
authentic squeak.
Okay.